We all know the feeling. You have a goal to start investing or launch a business, but your brain starts running simulations of every possible mistake. Before you even take a step, your mind is completely paralyzed. You convince yourself that you're just waiting for the perfect time to act. But in reality, that holding pattern keeps your wealth and your career completely stagnant. Society tells us the answer is simply to grind harder, to force our way through the hesitation. But human biology is wired for survival, which means we naturally default to avoiding risk and self-sabotaging out of fear. Wealth accumulation requires consistent, rational decisions over decades, a task our biological hardware was never designed to handle. Without updating that internal software, we remain at the mercy of impulses that consistently work against our long-term interests. Back in 2007, an investor named Darius Foroux was running on that exact default software. Driven by a cocktail of biological excitement and pure greed, he dumped his life savings into bank stocks. Then, the 2008 financial crisis hit. Within months, his portfolio was wiped out, suffering a staggering 60% loss. After years of working and saving, he found himself at absolute rock bottom. He was 28 years old, carrying a negative net worth, and had just $10,000 left to his name. Searching for a way out, Foroux didn't turn to Wall Street. He turned to ancient Rome. He began treating Stoicism as a series of practical, applied tools to mechanically fix his decision-making. He realized that recovering from a massive financial blow doesn't start with finding a hot new stock tip. It requires installing an entirely new mental framework to ensure those emotional errors never happen again. The first step in this upgrade was addressing the core bug in the system: fear and procrastination. Foroux realized these are objective realities you have to live with. They are just flawed mental habits. And the only biological antidote to that kind of psychological fear is immediate physical action. Moving your body physically breaks the mental loop. To force that momentum, he adopted a mechanical tool called the 2-minute rule. If a task takes less than 2 minutes, you do not think about it. You just do it, slicing a tiny fraction off that daunting obstacle and immediately moving forward. By taking those small mechanical steps, you start building a track record. You aren't waiting around to suddenly feel confident. You are actively building confidence through repeated competence. Bypassing the need to feel ready eliminates the single largest barrier holding most people back. It allows you to initiate the daily habits required to actually accumulate wealth. But action alone isn't enough if your attention is scattered. Today, our mental bandwidth is constantly drained by social media metrics, endless news cycles, and the heavy burden of other people's expectations. The Stoic protocol for this is a ruthless triage. You have to draw a hard line separating the variables you can actually control from the uncontrollable noise, and then let the noise fade away completely. With that distraction gone, you stop looking for massive, stressful leaps in your progress. You redirect all that saved energy into maintaining strict, daily, repetitive habits. Eliminating that external complexity provides the mental bandwidth necessary to actually stick to a strategy when things get difficult. Clarity provides the foundation for executing long-term plans without the constant friction of second-guessing. Once that internal operating system is running smoothly, you can apply it externally to the financial markets. Foroux calls this the Stoic edge. To survive the market, you must create severe emotional distance from your money. Without that distance, the imposing scale of the market will trigger panic selling during a crash or irrational exuberance during a boom. Look at this chart to see the Stoic solution. Ignore the chaotic line chart. Set up a continuous, mechanical flow of cash into an index fund. When the chart dips drastically into the red, it's just acceptable data. Your automated investments continue without interruption. By fully automating your financial process, you free up massive amounts of mental bandwidth. You can now spend that energy doing the one thing that actually accelerates wealth, compounding your personal skills and increasing your earning potential. Foroux used this exact framework to navigate his way from a negative net worth to total financial independence in 5 years. It's easy to assume that adopting Stoicism means suppressing your humanity to live a cold, joyless, emotionless existence. But that completely misses the point. The philosophy is really about the practice of deep intentionality. It's what allows you to actually enjoy the money you've made and the memories you're building without being consumed by an endless cycle of greed. In this framework, financial independence follows emotional independence. Once you control your internal response to the world, the external accumulation of wealth becomes a matter of consistent execution. The financial markets will always be volatile and unpredictable. You will never be able to control what happens on Wall Street, but you retain absolute control over how you respond to it. Foroux's ultimate lesson is that progress has nothing to do with waiting for the right conditions. Progress is solely generated by doing the work. Adopting the Stoic operating system transitions you from a passive observer of the economy to an active architect of your own financial reality.